It is Wednesday, 11th December 2019. It is 2235. Yes, the same day I recorded with the hair open. Look, here's the hair, with the hair open and the white shirt on. I changed, this is the original. I changed my clothes, pardon me. Same day as that little video to the Ouija. This is something completely different. This is about, so I'm going to put this here away. This video here is about something fascinating, namely Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark, the song in particular. I understood a long time ago, several years ago, that there's the melody in there is actually my melody. The interesting thing is there is other records where I had been slave laboring coerced into contributing. And there I usually was pretty good at telling how comes blah, 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 and which about it and what about it and so on and so forth. In this particular case, I understood that this is kind of like with my involvement, but I wasn't quite able to put my finger on it, because in this particular case, that song by Iron Maiden called Fear of the Dark, which was the title track of their 1992 album Fear of the Dark, go look it up, that was actually based on a particular melody that I wrote 1990-91 thereabouts. I wrote that melody and they extracted it from my brain and stole it. What they didn't know, or claimed not to know, was that yes, it was based on fantasy writing, namely it was a melody where the lyrics to it originally, nothing to do with the lyrics from Iron Maiden, they just stole the melody, not the lyrics. But the lyrics originally were about some fantasy warrior. And they, the stealers, the thieves, Stibitzer, claimed, hey, it is not his because it's based on fantasy writing, oi, 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 then we can take it. Just said, it was my own fantasy writing. I made music, a melody, on my guitar when I had an acoustic guitar, before I had my electric guitar even, when I still was on an acoustic guitar, to play around a little. I had this little poem of sorts that was supposed to go in a fantasy thing, written fantasy, no music, some short stories, some novel, whatnot. I'm looking down here because this here is some old file. I already had this in junior high. It has tons of old stuff in there from way back. And I went through this because I knew, look at this. This is old school. This was in an electric typewriter. This is like an artifact. And it's actually dated. Look at it. It's dated. I'm gonna, it says up here a name that is not of importance. It says, diese Geschichte ist Name gewidmet. Ich hoffe, sie weiß warum. And then it says, Die letzten Helden. And then a bunch of them are listed. That was basically the party of characters that were Die letzten Helden. Those were the good guys in that fantasy novel. And beneath it says, die folgende Geschichte wurde am 6. Dezember 1991 begonnen. And I will read this with, how to put this? I will read this with delight, because you and your stupid, I'm a Teufel, Arnold was mit the Witchen gedingst und was nicht für Scheiße. You don't understand what this refers to, and I love that. It says, this was already my phases then ridiculing the fucks who were ridiculing my phases, which is why this was added. Look what it says here. Die folgende Geschichte wurde am 6. Dezember 1991 begonnen. Möge der Träger keines Namens mir helfen, sie zu vollenden. That is not praying, that is ridicule. Because this was the anonymous routines worked on the other phases, and this really was basically, we're all gonna stick together in this. All my phases stick together. That's what this means. Träger keines Namens is the no-name, if you don't want to be a Jehovah and get yourself rebaptized, well, you have no name, and shit like that. That's what this is. please ask them to shove the crap that allegedly I'm thinking as I'm speaking along with you when you get the extract to what he really thought when you make out a video on YouTube. The reason why I show this here, and I will show you one of the sheet, the reason why I show this here is because this is typed on an electric typewriter, sharp typewriter. I used to have them before I had a printer to my computer then, and this was written December 1991. Now, that's not when these characters were created, because at this point there already was the whole full set of characters. These characters were created piecemeal in the time leading up to December 1991. Maiden's album was released in May 1992, but this is not when I came up with these characters. I had come up with these characters long prior, easily a year prior, over the previous, I don't know, 1, 2 years, maybe 3 years with some of them. Actually, some of them I do remember because they were in an old computer game party as some of the characters that I created there when I played Bard's Tale 3 on the Commodore 64. That's a long time ago. And some of these characters always were also already were there. I actually think, I'm not perfectly sure, but I think Trygor Skaaf is one of these characters. But in any case, here is another sheet. This is handwritten. It's not dated as such, but this predates this. And this is actually where the character, how each of these characters relates to the other. This is a character relation diagram, who has what to do with whom, and so on and so forth. And we don't really need to go through all of these. In fact, this is very interesting. Wait a minute. There is a slight change in the setup, which goes to show that this is later than this, because some of these characters were yet again reworked before it came to this. But here already, you got Trygor Skaaf, also known as Nemesis Blade, human bracket warrior. This was 1991. As I just wrote a mail, if you get the mails, you know what I'm talking about. What has this got to do with the Dark from Iron Maiden? The melody, Trygor had his own little poem in there. The German text was, as I've written on the YouTube, for you to read under the video of Iron Maiden Fear of the Dark live violoncello Lydia and Konstantinos Bodonis, Greek people apparently. I wrote there several comments. The first line was, einst lebte ein Krieger, der war sehr bekannt, Trygor Skaaf war sein Name, Nemesis Blade genannt. And the second line would have been, er war groß wie ein Hühner, stark wie ein Bär und den Mut eines Löwen, den hatte er. And so on and so forth. And the music that is, so I had come up with these characters, chronologically. I'd come up with these characters. Trygor, that's the only one of import here. You know, who knows if you fucked around with some of the other characters here, discrediting me as whatnot. I'd come up with Trygor Skaaf and his sword that was called the Nemesis Blade. See, the thing is, as it says blade in the German text even, because it's written with a hyphen, it's called, in German, in English it's two words, the Nemesis Blade. In German it's hyphenated, Nemesis hyphen Blade. And as it's a German line, and as you stupid force translators may have translated blade wrong. I meant sword. You know, a blade, they might have translated that either into blade, which is the local Viennese term for fat lady, or blade, which is the local Viennese term for, okay, and thought that I ID'd myself as Trygor Skaaf and that I ID'd my own nemesis in the 99 years, war minister nemesis kind of routine crap that has gone, is no longer, that my nemesis were some blade or blader. Fuck no! Okay, you are so stupid, but the point is not about you being stupid. You know that you're stupid. I don't need to tell you that at this point. The point is, then maybe it wasn't the juice. You know, because chances are, you know, this doesn't smell, this whole shit doesn't smell like the witch. This is more Albert Rohan's doing or something like that. Because there's got to be some connection over to Maiden at that time, and that's certainly not the G-net. The thing is, they fucked people with what I wrote also as comment on YouTube, namely that some of the people behind this, maybe not even Jews, though I think it was the Jews, might have argued, well, it's inspired by fantasy, then the music is not really original, and hence does not, copyright does not protect it, so let's just steal it. And slightly permutated, and slightly is an understatement, because they butchered the melody, because the melody original for these lines was no, that was not the melody. They just fucked the cadence here, live sabotaging it. I just played it on my guitar. I still remember the melody perfectly. It was a very simple melody. It was a one finger melody. They can't fuck up that melody. It's what got permutated to the melody of Fear of the Dark. And they thought that was legitimate because it wasn't allegedly mine. Just that they didn't tell them that, yes, it was based on fantasy writing, but my own fantasy writing. Here it is. Here's my fantasy writing. It was my own fantasy writing. So it was more mine than if it hadn't been based on anything. It was mine. It was protected by anything of the originator's right and claim to it, to the second, at least, power. Actually, a couple of more powers, but we don't want to go into that. And I identified it now here. Because there's other people who argue that, well, if they can't even tell it's theirs. What other fix Monte kept from you is that I was able to tell that this melody in that song of theirs, Iron Maiden, was my melody. That I had done it. But unlike certain other material, like on Deep Purple's Slave and Masters album, and some like on the Seventh Angel album, and so on and so forth, where I commented on YouTube, just read the YouTube comments, they had worked this a little differently. Maybe because someone took Maiden more important than certain other musical projects, although that would pose an insult to Deep Purple at that point, I guess, but hey. Also on Maiden's previous record, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, there's two pieces where I contributed, not voluntarily. Documentation, it still even exists! I got all this old stuff here. All this old stuff. This is years back. I got, look at this. Well, actually, this is later, but still, this is not as old. This is the original. Look how badly I personally edited around in this. Look at this. I'm a rough editor. If something has to be brought down in length and whatnot, this is the original typed on an electric typewriter version for my first sold short story to a horror magazine. But this was later. This was later, way later. This is dated right here as December 1991, and I know it was recorded earlier than December 1991, but that's no problem because I've been working on these characters coming together for 1-2 years prior to that. And that melody, actually by that time, December 1991, I already had my electric guitar, and that melody was made on my old acoustic guitar before I even had an electric guitar. I still even have the original, here it says, Rhythm, Trygor Skaaf, alias Nemesis Blade, Krieger, Warrior, String, very creative name, the Bard, Gondrel, a dwarf, Clyde the Stronghand, a blacksmith, Corinna, who used to be called, I think she's the different one. She used to be called, let's see. Her role originally was supposed to go to, I'm not sure, this is very small handwriting, even for me, and the camera is crap. Chandra, which is a name that they coerced onto me, which is why I eventually did away with it and just called her something else and changed her around a bit. And you know, it doesn't really matter. The other characters don't matter shit. What matters is 1991, and this is 90 and early 91, and their album wasn't released until May 1992. You stole. The youths are Stibitzers. And you base this around, you work such a lot of routines and mechanisms around an album called Bo Hansson's Music Inspired by Lord of the Rings. To be able to claim, oh, it's not really original because it got inspired by something else. How can it be original? This is my original writing. And the music you stole was my original music based on my original writing. You can't argue that Bo Hansson shit on me. Stibitzers, the youths. Stibitzers. There's probably been gypsies who stibitz less than the Jews in the music industry. That's a fact exact. I just want you to appreciate that. Thank you very much.